So I don't have to be perfect. I'm doing the best I can. Doesn't that just give you permission? Doesn't that just give you permission? I'm doing the best I can. What more can you ask? So I always like to start off a talk like this because I think the way that we start our day is the most important thing. And my question to you this morning is, did you wake up? Did you sashay to the bathroom, look in the mirror and go, oh my God, have you gotten more beautiful overnight? What's the deal? Did you say that? Or did you look at yourself and go, oh my God, everything's dropping? So today, I'm going to talk about how we can be kind to ourselves, how we can be gentle with ourselves. Does anyone have an inner critic here? Because if you don't, I could do another talk. So it's that voice. It's that voice that we're going to talk about today, that we're going to just say, back off. Because, you know, we have 60,000 thoughts a day. You know, that's 60,000 thoughts. So the question is, how many of those thoughts are loving and kind? How much do you look at yourself in the mirror and go, oh, sweetheart, look at you? That's a really great thing. One of the first things I've learned about being gentle with yourself is how do you address yourself? So Cheryl Richardson has this great thing, sweetheart. She just says every day, how are you doing today, sweetheart? And, you know, when you look at yourself in the mirror, when you start your day, just putting your hand over your heart and saying, how you doing? How are you feeling today? Instead of just immediately jumping up, starting your day, you know, that's one of my spiritual practices, is I start every day, I put my hand on my heart and say, what does my heart have to say? And, you know, I learned this little exercise. Years ago, I used to, do you know the organization Bread and Roses here in Marin? So I was part of a little comedy troupe, a little theater troupe that would go to different pediatric wards all over the Bay Area. And my character in this little show was called Dr. Heart. And I had a heart smock and heart earrings and a heart hat and heart everything. And my job was to take my little play stethoscope and I'd go up to each of the little kids that were all hooked up to IVs and all this, you know, all this stuff. And I'd go up to them and say, what does your heart have to say? What does your heart have to say? And they would look up at me with these little lammy poo eyes and just go, my heart's really sad because I want to go out and play. You know, my heart is sad because my parents are so worried about me. And, you know, I gave them the space. I just gave them the space to say, how are you? And I think when we can give ourselves that space every day to just say, really, how am I doing today? And, you know, when you do that, sometimes things come up like, what does my heart have to say? Oh, I have this lunch date with someone today. Not so much. I don't really want to do that. And when you allow that to come up, and one of the words that you had up there was choice. That's the biggest thing about all this stuff, that you get to have a choice of whether you're going to say something about it, whether you're going to do something about it, or you make the choice of saying, I'm not ready to do something about it. So, you know, sometimes you're just ready to call up your friend and go, you know, I know we had this appointment. I'm just not feeling good today. I want to just be home with myself. And to have friends that you can be that honest with, that to me is the first step, is having that. And you know, one of the things about being gentle with yourself, I think, is telling the truth. And you know, I love again, Cheryl Richardson had this great quote, that to be truly authentic with yourself, you have to be willing to disappoint someone every day. Should I say that one again? To be truly authentic with yourself, you have to be willing to disappoint someone every day. Ouch. I don't know if I can do that so much. So Hafiz said, once a young woman came up to me and said, Hafiz, what is the sign of someone who knows God? I became very quiet and looked deep into her eyes and replied, my dear, they have dropped the knife. Someone who knows God has dropped the cruel knife that most so often they use upon their tender self and others. They've dropped the cruel knife that so often they use upon their tender self and others. So are you willing to drop the knife today? To be sweet to, not so much, maybe a little bit. Drop it. Everyone just do that, just drop it. So the song, the reason I came up with that little title today of I Will Be Gentle with Myself is years ago I wrote a little chant to myself that just said, I will be gentle with myself. I will be gentle with myself. And I will hold myself like a newborn baby child. And it says, I will be tender with my heart. I will be tender with my heart. And I will hold my heart like a newborn baby child. And the bridge said, and I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe to go. I will only go as fast as the slowest part of me feels safe, feels comfortable to go. And it said, I will be easy on myself. I will be easy on myself, and I will rock myself like a newborn baby child. Now, I wrote this little chant, and you have to know that all the chants, all the songs I write are all my issues, so you get to see what all my issues are. So this little chant came from me doing something really stupid, and I was beating myself up, and I was just thinking, oh, God, I'm such an idiot. And I called a girlfriend thinking, well, she'll make me feel better. I called my girlfriend, I said, oh, my God, I'm such an idiot. You wouldn't believe this stupid thing I said. And she goes, stop right there. I will not let you talk to my friend that way. And I thought, really, how often do we talk to ourselves that way? And she said, would you ever imagine saying what you're saying right now to a child, the way you're talking to yourself? No. So I hung up the phone, and I did what I always do when I need to tell myself something. I said, all right, what do I need to say? And I started just instinctively just kind of rocking myself like this. And in so doing, I heard that affirmation, I will be gentle with myself. I vow to be gentle with myself and hold myself like I would hold a newborn. Would you ever imagine if a child was standing up for the first time, you're going to go, just come on, just do it. What are you falling down for? Just come on, walk. You wouldn't do that. Come on, little one, you can do it. You know, what would it look like if we talked to ourselves in that way, like we were, just one, and just going, come on, you can do it, little one. So it's about that choice, about how you're going to be. And, when you get triggered, your choice sometimes goes out the window. You don't even realize you have choices. But it's bringing yourself back. I mean, that's what I always say in all my songs and all my talks. It's all about coming back to center. Everything here is all about coming back to that place where you know the truth about yourself, that you give to yourself. I mean, one of the main reasons why I love doing a talk like this is because I feel like I'm on this mission to have peace in the world. And the way that I can do it is by just being kind to myself first. Because when I'm kind to myself, I can be kind to you. When I'm beating myself up, I'm going to be in judgment of you. But if I can be kind first here and gentle and sweet and go, what do you need right now? That allows me to go from this place where I'm kind of in myself and I'm looking at all my issues to being able to look up and see you and be sweet to you. I love my cell phone, I really do, but I found this little quote, and I think it's really true. In the not-too-distant future, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook will merge to form one giant, idiotic, supersized, time-wasting, non-productive, time-stealing, mind-numbing, do-not-need-to-know website called YouTwitFace. And I really think that when we're just in that place of looking at our cell phones and Facebook, that we don't see the world. We don't see each other. We don't see that we need to be kind to each other and give love and do all that stuff. So I want to tell you a story about one of the first times that I really learned about choices and how being kind to myself was the way to my power. And I love telling this story because it's really one of the first times I learned how spirit works. So I grew up in Hollywood, and when I was growing up, I was what you'd call kind of a drip, a nerd, a geek. I used to straighten my, did everyone know the product Dippity-Doo? So I used to straighten my hair, and I would take an entire can of Dippity-Doo, and I would slather it all over my hair every night. I'd take this side up with all these bobby pins up here, then this side up here, and then an orange juice can on top. Anyone know about that? Yeah, that's like more years of therapy for me. And I would do this every night, and then I had, my Clearasil on and everything. I mean, I'm just a geek. And God forbid it was ever foggy in Los Angeles. My hair would, first of all, come down going, ee, 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 ee. And if it was foggy, my hair would rise like yeast. So, you're getting kind of the picture. But I had at that time this, well, actually, I'll even go back a little bit. So I'm such a geek that when it's picture day, I have 9 million pins and everything so that you're not going to see I have curly hair. And I'm just trying so hard to fit in. And I'm so afraid that you're looking at me now, the glamorous supermodel that I am, that you can't envision this. So I brought a little picture. So this is me in 8th grade. And do you love the fact that with, a full set of braces, I'm going, but, this is me. So you're kind of getting an idea of this picture I'm setting. And first of all, don't look at this picture and go, oh, poor thing, because you all have the same picture, right? So I'm like 14, 15 years old. I'm just this geek. I'm trying to fit in. But I had a mentor at that time, and I thought if she could make it, there's hope for me. And I just loved her, and I just thought she just ruled the world, and her name was Carol Burnett. Do you remember Carol Burnett and the Carol Burnett Show? So because I lived in LA, I used to take the bus down every Friday to the CBS Television Center. I would stand in line for 2 hours. I wore the same little polka dot dress my mom made for me. And I would stand in the front line, and when they opened the doors, I would make a beeline to that seat every time. And pretty soon she would come out, because I was there every week. She'd come out and wink at me, and I'm like, oh my God, like we're BFFs, okay. So remember at the beginning of her show, she used to do the question and answer period. Do you remember that? Yeah. So one time, I'm sitting there like everybody else, just enjoying the show. And out of nowhere, all of a sudden, my heart starts beating really hard. And I look down, and my palms are getting all clammy, and I'm going, what? Am I having a heart attack? What's going on? And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my hand goes up, and I'm like, ah! And I try and get it down. And in that moment, she sees me. She probably wants to know who this weird stalker kid is. And she goes, yes, what's your question? And I'm a deer in the headlights. I mean, I'm just like, but then I remembered that the week before I had won the Edgar Rice Burroughs Tarzan calling contest. And in my little 14-year-old self, I said, I'd like to challenge you to a Tarzan calling contest. And she goes, great, come on up. So now I get up on stage. I've never been on a stage in my life. I get up there, there's 300 people, and they're all like beaming at me, and they're smiling, and I'm like, this is really fun. And I'm, she's being so sweet to me. And I forget about the millions of people that are out there in television land. I'm just seeing all these people. And I'm in heaven. I'm like, this is incredible. And in that moment, all of a sudden I looked out, and probably where you all are in the 3rd row, all of a sudden I look, and there are the cool girls from my school. And they're doing that Valley Girl thing of going, oh my God, is that Karen Drucker? We're so embarrassed. Oh my God, do you know her? Oh my God, let's look like we don't even know her. And they're just rolling their eyes and making fun of me. And in that moment, like that, all I wanted to do was get off that stage. I just wanted to get off that stage. I was humiliated. All of a sudden, now I'm just that drippy girl who puts Clearasil on at night. I mean, I'm just in that. But that's when I learned how spirit works, because in that moment I got, for some reason, that I had a choice, that I had just a choice in front of me, that I could, well, it actually felt like there was like a line in front of me. And I could either give them all the power, take away my power, but make it be I'm just about pleasing you, or I could choose to be gentle with myself, to be good to myself, to make the choice of standing in my little power at that moment. And I remember that, looking out at them and looking at Carol Burnett and looking at that line and going, ah! And of course, she was so lovely to me. She was like, she won, and everyone's like, ah, And then the next day I come to school and all the girls are going, oh, Karen, you're really cool. Do you want to be in our group? And I'm like, no. So, but again, it's a choice. It's a choice of how you're going to be in the world. And when we focus in on the bigger picture of how we want to be, how do we want to live our lives? How do we want to contribute? Because we all have that choice of how we do it every day. I mean, even when you go to Starbucks, and you're ordering your little latte or whatever, do you take that extra moment to look at the person and say, thank you? Or do you just go, oh, thanks so much? And I'm not talking about, that you look at them so much that you're like, wow, the meanness in me sees the you-ness in you. We're in Marin, we're bonded. It's that little extra. Do you know what I'm talking about? That little extra where you just make that connection. And to me, that's what life right now is all about. It's that connection. I think we need it so badly, don't you? I just believe that after the pandemic and just like all the stuff that we've gotten kind of isolated, now we're finally, thank God, coming back together. How can we reach out every day and make that choice to just put your hand out? Years and years ago, I wrote this song, hold on to love, hold on to truth. I'm going to look for the good and then praise it. And I remember the verse was something like, every day I have a choice of how I want to live, and I refuse to let all the bad news affect me. I'm going to take the time to look a stranger in the eye. And I just remember that. This was one of my first songs I wrote. But I'm thinking, it's still happening now, where I have to make that choice to say, with all the political divides and all that kind of stuff, just that I'm going to put out my hand and say, I'm here for you. What can I do for you? And I'm going to leave you with one more story here today. Well, actually, before I do, let me just give you another little quote. I love this quote. Buddha said, you must love yourself before you can love another. By accepting yourself fully, being all of what you are, all of who you are, your simple presence can make others happy. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to be perfect. Your simple presence can make other people happy. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. And Desmond Tutu said, do your little bit of good where you are. Do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that will heal the world. Amen. That's what's going to heal the world, is those little bits. It's not like you have to do these huge things. It's taking that moment. At Starbucks, thanks so much. Do you ever have that when someone calls you and you say, like some telemarketer or whatever, or you're calling a company and, they go, hi, PG&E, whatever, and you say, how are you today? Do you ever have that where the person goes, I'm fine. How are you? It's those things where they're just kind of taken aback because no one takes the time to do that. Let's all take the time to do that. So one last little story for you. So there was this guy that was having lunch, and he looked at the booth next to him, and there was this older woman. She was all coiffed in her little hair, and she had a little bouquet thing, a little carnation, and she was all dressed up, and she was sitting in a booth next to him. And his first inclination was to go up and say something to her. He just wanted to say something to her. But just as he was doing that, her whole family came in and the grandkids and everything, and he just, because sometimes when you put yourself out, it's very vulnerable. You have to kind of sometimes push yourself. But in this case, he went, okay, I'm not going to say anything. So he finishes his lunch, and as he's getting up, he walks by the table, and he gets this little tap on his shoulder from Spirit. Go back. And he's like, ooh, feels kind of uncomfortable. But he just gets this intuitive hit, go back. So he goes back to the table. He stands in front of the table, and he was feeling kind of shy because it's, they're all having lunch. But he goes, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you. But he says to the woman, I just have to tell you, you just look really beautiful today. The color of your the outfit you're wearing just brings out the blue in your eyes, and you just look really beautiful. And I just wanted to tell you that, sorry, I'll go. And she goes, no, don't go away. She said, I know you. And he goes, oh no, we've never met. She goes, now I know you. She said, today is the 1-year anniversary of my husband dying. And my family is here celebrating that I did it, that I made it a year. And what you said is exactly what he would have said to me. So just know that when we allow ourselves to see people, you never know what's going to happen. You never know the beauty that you could be giving someone. Showing them that they are the gift, knowing that you are the gift. 1, 2, 3, 4. I am a gift, no matter what age, no matter how I look, there's beauty in each stage. I am a gift, and I promise every day that when I look in that mirror, I'll say, I am a gift. Can you say that line with me? Just say, I am a gift. I am a gift. I've loved really well, and every year I've lived has a different tale to tell. I've made mistakes, and I have some regrets, but I promise I'll never forget that I am a gift. Say that line with me. I am a gift. And there may be times when I forget the truth about me, when it seems time and youth, they're just marching on without me. That's when I might need you to find me and ever so gently remind me that I am a gift, God's precious child. I was put here on this earth only for a while, so I make this vow, and I say it with love, that I am perfect and whole and enough. I am a gift. Say that line with me. Just say, I am a gift. So close your eyes for just a moment. And know with me right now that you are the gift. That every choice you make from the moment you wake up in the morning allows you to come from that place of love. To just know that who you are is enough. You are perfect. You are whole. That you are the gift. And you spread that love everywhere you can. There may be times when I forget the truth about me, when it seems time and youth, they're just marching on without me. That's when I might need you to find me you feel comfortable, maybe turn to someone and tell them, you are a gift. Someone else, they might need to hear it today. You are a gift. One more person, just say, you are a gift. Put your hands up like this and say, we are. Give it to everybody here. We are a gift. One more, just say, we are a gift. So repeat after me. I am perfect, whole, and complete. There is nothing I need to change. Because the truth about me is, I'm fabulous. Thank you all for listening. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Can we repeat today's affirmation?
Oh, sorry, I forgot.
That's quite all right. You want to do it? There it is, right in front of you. Go ahead.
I am gentle with myself. Say that with me.
I am gentle with myself.
And I treat myself and others.
I treat myself and others
with loving kindness.
with loving kindness.
So it
And
is.
so it is. In just